Before we get into the video, I'm just going to go on a quick FPL rant, yeah? So in the last video, I said this. Erling Haaland probably going to score 2 or 3 goals. I might triple captain him. I'll update you on that when the review comes out if I actually decide to do it. Right now, I'm on the fence, but potentially could be happening. I was going to do it and I forgot. And it hit 7 PM on the Friday and I'd realised I'd forgotten to do it. And not only that, I had Evan Ferguson, who also scored a hat-trick on my bench. So that's 37 points that I missed out on. I missed out on 31 in the first game because I didn't play my bench boost. I know I would have used 2 chips, but that would have been almost another 70 points. I would have been in the top 500 people in the world. I hate FPL, I hate it. If you want to take some sympathy on me, please just watch the video. I've kind of already introed the video, so we're just going to get into the matches. First game, I banged it, said it was going to be 2-1 to West Ham away at Kenilworth Road, and it was. I was also going to bring Jared Bowen into my FPL team, but I decided not to. I went with Eze instead, and he scored as well, so it was alright. To be fair, West Ham were dominant, they probably deserved the win, but Luton probably should have had a penalty towards the end of the game. James Ward-Prowse kind of put his arm out a little bit. It kind of also hit his elbow, so I could see what I wasn't given. He was also pushed just before that, so that could have potentially weighed into it. If you're a Luton fan, you'd be disappointed it wasn't given. If you're a West Ham fan and it was given, you might also feel a bit hard done by. But yeah, Luton still yet to win. West Ham carry on unbeaten. 3 wins and a draw from the first 4. What a start. Yeah, banged it. Sheffield United against Everton, I predicted 2-1. Ended up being 2-2. Sheffield United probably should have won it right at the end. Overall, this was actually quite a good game. You know, first half, it was pretty even. Beto looked massive for Everton. He didn't really have a clear-sighted goal, but his all-round play, the way he linked up with players, his hold-up play, you know, everything about his performance was fantastic. Just shame he couldn't really get a clear-cut chance himself. But Sheffield United also scored one very, very good goal. We went 1-0 down, a bit lucky for Decore the way he scored, but Sheffield United hit back. Hamer put a brilliant ball in, and McBurney, we're talking about Beto, McBurney as a target man was fantastic. He just takes a touch, you know, to stop the ball, lays it back to Cameron, finesses it into the corner. It was a really good goal, and them two as a combination could keep Sheffield United up. It's a really, really good partnership they've already built from one game. Cameron had another finesse shot, hit the post, hit Pickford in the back, and went in. So Sheffield United went in 2-1 up. I was like, oh, predictions looking good. But Everton hit back in the second half, where they were probably the more dominant team until the 70th minute, where Sheffield United started to get back into it. And right at the end of the game, Gordon Pickford made a fantastic double save. Both McBurney attempts, a corner, good header. Pickford saves it onto the crossbar. Then McBurney follows through, but he hits the ball straight at Pickford's head. If he had hit it a bit higher, it would have been a 3-2 Sheffield United win. Absolute limbs. Fortunately for him, he couldn't. This was a relegation 6-pointer. Both sides avoided defeat. Both sides did show qualities and showed why they could survive. Brentford, Bournemouth, again, I banged it, man. I said it was going to be 2-2, and it was. Brentford were definitely the better side. It didn't really go as I thought it would. I thought Bournemouth would have a bit more possession, but Brentford were the more front foot team. Missed a lot of chances. They hit the woodwork 3 times, and Buemo missed such an easy chance, a massive one-on-one that he hit wide somehow. But he didn't make up for it at the end, even though if he had scored when he missed, it would have been 2-1 Brentford and it might have been different. I'm happy he missed because obviously Bournemouth got something, but he also got me FPL points, so win-win. Burnley, Tottenham, I thought it was going to be 2-0 Tottenham. They're not winning 5-2. Heung-min Son as a striker is the way forward for Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham actually went down, and when it was 1-0 Burnley, I was thinking, oh, I don't know, man, because Tottenham really haven't shown a great nature to going behind in the past. It was potentially something that I was a bit worried about for them. They smashed it. They scored 5 goals. Heung-min Son hat-trick, like I said. James Maddison again was phenomenal. His goal was beautiful, man. So good. Pedro Porro as well. Defensively a bit poor, but his passing is really, really good. He set up Son's 3rd goal. Brilliant pass. Manuel Solomon as well had a bit of a shaky start, but really grew into the game, got 2 assists. And they still got Brennan Johnson to come into the side. Tottenham are looking really good. For Burnley, again, you know, is another game I thought they'd struggle in against a very good side. They scored 2 goals, so there's positives. Kolyosha looked good. He's a very good dribbler. Brownhill also looked good off the bench. I wouldn't be too worried about Burnley. You know, I expected them to struggle against the harder teams, and they've played 3 very difficult games so far. So when they've come up against the more, you know, mid-table or teams that you'd expect them to maybe be a bit more competitive against, I think they could do quite well. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. Oh, this is beautiful, man. I thought Chelsea were going to take it 2-1. Nottingham Forest ended up winning 1-0 away at the Bridge for the first time in like 30-something years, I think. It was a shame to see Awoniyi's goal-scoring streak end, but he got an assist, so he still contributed massively. Caicedo again really poor, gave the ball away for that goal. Jackson missed an open goal as well. It was really well worked. Palmer came on, played a really good pass to Sterling, who again got past his man, played it into the pass of Jackson, who was literally about 3 yards out. There were 2 defenders there on the line, but it's still very simple, and he leans back and hits it over. I thought he was going to score in this game because he just scored against Luton and he should have been full of confidence. That miss right there could knock his confidence back. Like, it was a really poor miss. But Chelsea should be worried, man. They had 2 shots on target this whole game. They've just spent £1 billion. They have brought in a very good player in Cole Palmer, and he looked good already. So once he gels in a bit better, they should get better results. I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last season. They're currently in 12th, which is so funny. Like, you couldn't write this, man. But fair play to Nottingham Forest, man, because this was a much weaker Forest side than what we've seen the last couple of weeks, because Brennan Johnson's gone and they didn't really have time to register most of their new signings. And they won at the Bridge, so I'm excited for them this season. And so they're going to finish in 12th. A lot of people thought they were going to get relegated or finish just above that sort of area. They're going to do a lot better than that, I'm telling you. Manchester City against Fulham, we've already touched on this in the intro, but I did think it was going to be 4-0 to Man City, and they won 5-1, so I pretty much banged it. However, there was a lot of controversy because Ake scored right before half-time to make it 2-1 to Manchester City. It really should have been disallowed because Akanji's quite clearly impeding Bernd Leno's either his vision and his decision making. He didn't touch the ball, but Bernd Leno's stuttered a little bit because he thought Akanji might touch the ball. It should have been disallowed. It was kind of like Rashford against Manchester City last season, where it should have been disallowed and it wasn't. So I guess Man City have got the luck that they sort of deserved for the decision last season, but Fulham have now been hard done by it. Marcus Hill was furious, as he should be, because it was a dreadful decision. Erling Haaland, Fulham, man, like, come on, you dealt with him the whole first half and you let him score a hat-trick in the... We saw Doku, my boy, those of you who watch the QPR career mode, Doku and Gvardiol on the same team, man. It is really like my FIFA 21 QPR career mode team. Fulham got battered like I expected them to. But to be fair, Manchester City only had 5 shots on target, so it wasn't as big of a battering as you might expect. Brighton against Newcastle, I thought it'd be a 1-1 draw. I already mentioned I had Evan Ferguson on my bench. He also scored a hat-trick and Brighton won 3-1. Newcastle were absolutely dreadful in this game, man. It was really poor. It wasn't even they were technically outclassed, which they were. They were so physically outclassed, and that's something you don't associate with a Newcastle team. Last week I did also say in that Liverpool game, they really switched off when Liverpool went down to 10 men. They just took it too easy, and that seemed to have carried over here. They weren't their normal self. They weren't pressing high. They weren't, making it difficult for the defenders. I don't know what's going on with Newcastle, but they need to sort something out. Whether that be certain players getting dropped, Longstaff needs to come back in to provide a more defensive cover, give Elliot Anderson a start. Maybe even Isak needs to be dropped, because I don't think he's been great in the last couple of games. And I love Isak, and he's still my FPL team, and I hope he doesn't get dropped because I might captain him. Newcastle should be worried, but Brighton and Hove Albion have an absolute superstar on hands. 18 years old, Evan Ferguson is. And he's already a really complete centre forward. He can do everything. He can drop deep and hold up the ball. His passing's good. His shooting, he scored 3 really different goals. The first one was a proper number 9 strike, feeding off the mistake of a goalkeeper and anticipating a potential opportunity. The second one was a great long shot. He saw a lot of space and he just hit it, and it was a really good strike. And the third one off his left foot, very lucky with the deflection, but he scored. And I was so angry, man. Why'd I leave him on my bench for Isak, man? It was a choice between the two, and he's going to be one of the best strikers in the world. He's probably the best young striker in the world already, if you don't want to include Haaland as a young striker, because he's only 22 still. What a player, man. What a player. I think his game time is being managed really well by De Zerbi. He's not making him play every game. We've seen in the past when players are played too much too early, they can really tail off towards the end of their career. To be fair, he does deserve to start every week. If he's scoring a hat-trick against Newcastle United, I thought Gilmour was quite good in this game as well. He doesn't really get a lot of plaudits, but I was really impressed with him. Newcastle really need to sort themselves out, man, because this is really poor. The Palace against Wolverhampton Wanderers, I thought it was going to be 2-0 to Palace. Ended up being 3-2 to Palace. Really bad first half, in all honesty. Not many chances, except for pretty much an open goal that Palace missed. Pretty much 2 open goals that they missed. Jefferson Lam does really well, puts the Wolves defender under a lot of pressure, gets the ball, plays it across to Jordan Ayew, who pretty much has an open goal, but he gets no power on his shot, and Max Kilman races across the goal line and stops the ball going in. And then Odsonne Edouard, who had a fantastic second half, but smashes it over. I don't know how he even did that. In the second half, like I said, Edouard was fantastic. First goal, really good cross from Mitchell. Great finish from Edouard as well. It's a tough angle for him. Not a lot of space, but he put in the net. Wolves then equalised for a Hwang Chan header. Again, it was like the Brighton game. Wolves back into it. But then, what a second goal as well. Mateta came off the bench and was also fantastic. Some of the touches he did, and the first one, an assist for Eze, is off his back, straight to Eze, who flicks it over, and a really good finish from him. And then again, Edouard, went on a little run, played it to Mateta, who does a really nice back heel back to Edouard, gets past one of the Wolves defenders, sits him down, and then wrong foots Jose Sarr and just sticks it in the corner. Really good goal. Wolves got a consolation added time. And it was, again, another cross. All their goals this season have come from crosses, whether that be a set piece or an open play cross. It seems like that's the way for them to score. Liverpool-Villa, I thought it was going to be 2-1 to Liverpool, ended up being 3-0. Villa were really poor. This was exactly like that Newcastle performance, man. They played that high line. But when I was watching the highlight, my first thought was exactly the same as the match today 2 analysis. If you're going to play a high line, you have to press. They did not press. They left Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of the best passers in the league, in acres of space, and left acres of space in behind their own defence for Mohamed Salah, one of the fastest and best players in the league. Like, you're playing to their strengths. You're playing completely to their strengths. That's arguably their greatest asset. Liverpool could have won this 7-0 in all honesty. It was that bad from Villa. They had a couple chances. McGinn had a chance. I think Cash had a chance as well. I don't know why Villa are persisting with this high line against teams as explosive as Newcastle and Liverpool have really quick players that can really devastate you. Liverpool were very good. Trent was fantastic. Salah was good. Szoboszlai scored his first goal. Really nice goal as well. Kind of remind me of Reece Nelson against Bournemouth last season. The final game, Arsenal-Manchester United. Again, I banged it. This game was full of controversy, even though it really shouldn't have been, because I think all the decisions the officials actually gave were correct. For Kai Havertz might be the worst player in Premier League history. Can't believe how bad that guy is, man. Had a chance pretty early on. It was essentially an open goal. Like, Onana was there, but if you get any contact on it, you're going to score. He air kicked. He's a £65 million player getting paid like 300k a week, and he air kicks the ball from about 8 yards out. What are you doing, bruv? How is he a professional footballer? It's unbelievable, man. He's so shit. Manchester United took the lead with their first shot of the game and the first time they got out of their own half. Really poor defending from Arsenal, but Rashford took the finish well. Ramsdale got a hand to it, but couldn't keep it out. Arsenal hit back instantly. Odegaard, beautiful finish. Very well deserved. So Arsenal were definitely a better team. Second half again, Manchester United got a bit more into it. Højlund came on and looked very good. He looked very imposing. I can definitely see why he's been so compared to Haaland. Not just in terms of their names and their physical appearance, which is very similar, and their build and the fact they're left-footed. Even the way they play, man, like, he was really aggressive. He showed his strength. He showed his pace as well. We didn't get to see him have a shot, unfortunately. We obviously got to see if that's anywhere like Haaland. If it is, Manchester United have got themselves a very good player. Garnacho scored in the 89th minute. It was given offside, and it was definitely offside. Like, I don't understand why people can't comprehend angles. It was offside. It was not wrongly given offside. It was offside. Get over it, Man United fans. And then Arsenal scored through a corner. Saka put the ball in to Rice, who was open at the back post. Apparently, people are trying to say there's a foul on Johnny Evans when he was grabbing Gabriel as well. Maguire should have come out, and he didn't. That's his own fault. That's Man United's own fault. Obviously, it got deflected and went in. But Declan Rice proving why he's worth £100 million. And then the third goal, Rashford, really poor from him, man. He should have gone in for a header. He didn't. He backed out of it. Arsenal went up the other end. Vieira played the ball into Jesus, who took it really well. 3-1 Arsenal, very well deserved win. I think it reinforces their title credentials after a very poor result last week. Manchester United are in trouble. They have a lot of work to do. And I'm complaining about decisions. Get over it. Like, they were the right decisions. Just because they didn't go in your favour doesn't mean they weren't correct. Him and Sancho have now had beef as well. I'm going to make another video on Manchester United, but yeah, they're not looking good right now, man. And obviously things could change, once Højlund is fully into the team, once Amrabat gets integrated in as well, the Varane's back from injury. Like, they've got injuries and stuff, and they've got players to come in. But it was not a good performance. They lost 7 of their 8 games against the top 9 last season. They've lost 2 out of 2 so far this season and not looked good in either of them. Good luck, Manchester United. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you soon for another video.